news all the time. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM, New York.
Good afternoon, 43 degrees now to mostly cloudy skies at 3 o'clock. I'm Larry Mullins, and here's what's happening. We'll get the latest out of Brownsville, where police are still investigating a shooting early today where a cop took a bullet to the face by the same man who allegedly shot and killed his own neighbor earlier. That suspect is also dead. Meantime, Glenn Schuck watching that shooting investigation in Newark for us, where a 10-year-old boy and a 21-year-old woman were killed. Several others hurt after gunfire erupted on a street corner. President Trump hosting the Saudi crown prince tomorrow at the White House with the fancy welcome ceremony and a state dinner. The 9/11 victims' family group says it doesn't seem right, seeing that a court has decided Saudis must face charges for aiding the hijackers. Another day, another Diddy tale. A new claim today from a Florida man who says Diddy sexually assaulted him 5 years ago. And they're telling us we can breathe again and book airline tickets for the holidays if you want. A report that the FAA no longer canceling flights and that things should be back to normal flight-wise for the Thanksgiving holidays. AccuWeather says clear skies, breezy though, but cold with a low of 38 degrees on this Monday afternoon. Wednesday news time 3:01, and from your Mercedes-Benz of Edison.com traffic center, let's get you where you need to go today. Here's Greg Pratt.
Now, walk of shame time in Queens. They finally got rid of that truck that slammed into an overpass on the northbound Cross Island at Union Turnpike. He's sitting there in the right lane, and that's why the northbound Cross Island is still so slow from just north of Linden Boulevard up towards Union Turnpike. Southbound, the Cross Island slows to the LIE. At least the Clearview thereabouts will treat you better. Northbound side of the Van Wyck Whitestone Expressway, bumper to bumper from the LI getting up past Northern Boulevard because of some fire department activity in the right lane. Northbound Clearview again wins out. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Citybound George is fine. West side best of it out. Northbound Deegan better out of the Bronx. Lincoln and Holland no more than a few minutes in either direction. Verrazano upper level, they're not letting any empty or tandem tractor trailers across because of the wind. Greg Rice, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
We now know the names of the two people killed in a shooting in Newark on Saturday.
Kaya May Scott, 21 years old, along with 10-year-old Jordan Garcia, killed in Saturday's shooting. The manhunt for those responsible going on Chancellor Avenue, still reviewing surveillance footage. Mayor Ross Baraka with this message for those who did it.
That these perpetrators need to turn themselves in immediately. Before the sun goes down tonight would be preferable that you turn yourselves in. There is nothing that you can say or do that would justify a 10-year-old losing their life. The mother, two of her sons were shot.
He says this is a community on alert that will stay that way until the suspects are in custody. Glenn Schuck, 1010 Wins, 92.3 FM in New Jersey.
The Essex County Sheriff's Department is offering a $10,000 reward for information in this case. Meantime, no one knows what they argued about, but the NYPD says one man shot his neighbor to death this morning at an apartment in Brownsville. But then when the cops showed up to investigate that, they say the suspect turned on them. 1010 Wins reporter Marla Diamond with the latest.
Officers from the 73rd Precinct were investigating a dispute between neighbors that turned deadly in a building on Thomas Boylan Street. Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch.
A male opens the door of one of the first floor apartments and fires at the officer in the hallway from close range with a shotgun.
The cop, who was grazed in the face, returned fire, killing the suspect. Tisch met with 25-year-old officer Shaquille Juarez, who was able to walk out of Brookdale Hospital hours after the incident.
This could have ended very differently. What happened this morning is a reminder of how quickly danger finds the men and women who protect this city.
Marla Diamond, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM in Brooklyn.
Also today, the NYPD releasing images of the suspect who stole nearly $10,000 worth of Pokemon and baseball cards from Tom Brady's Soho card store. The cards were stolen October 20th, less than 2 weeks after the store opened. The suspect last seen walking south on Lafayette wearing black clothes with a black Yankees cap and a multicolored bag. Card Vault also has locations in Dallas, Chicago, Boston, and East Hampton. Anybody with information about the suspect is asked to call the NYPD at 800-577-8477. The NYPD releasing images now of the suspect who allegedly shot Jets cornerback Chris Boyd. The 29-year-old was shot in the abdomen outside Say Less. This is a club on West 38th Street early Sunday morning. Boyd left the club when somebody tried to steal his chain, and the shooting happened when he and the suspect started fighting about it. He remains hospitalized in critical condition today. Police say they're looking for a dark-colored Benz or a blue-gray BMW that were seen in the area during that shooting. Some Long Island folks facing big auto repair bills after thieves stole their catalytic converters.
It was a big bill, $2,300, and this Massapequa Park resident is glad insurance covered most of the cost after he says he became a victim of a catalytic converter theft.
They must have come around the corner with their lights off.
And in 30 seconds, they can
They're very quick.
Nassau County authorities say other areas have also been hit, including Mineola and Plainview.
What can you do? I mean, was I upset? Yeah.
He says he did hear a sawing sound in the middle of the night, but by the time he got up and looked out the window, the thieves were driving off. Sophia Hall, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM on Long Island.
Talk about gone in 60 seconds. My goodness. A grassroots organization representing the families of 9/11 victims releasing a statement ahead of tomorrow's visit to the White House by Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. It follows a recent ruling by a federal judge that says Saudi Arabia must stand trial for its role in the terror attacks. Brett Eagleson is the president of 9/11 Justice.
We want there to be an official acknowledgement by the Saudi government and by the United States government that there was a significant role played by elements of the Saudi government that led to the 9/11 attack.
The ruling found that Saudi Arabia operated a network of government officials inside the U.S. to furnish the 9/11 hijackers with the essential support they needed to carry out the attacks. Tomorrow, President Trump is expected to roll out the red carpet, as he put it, and host a state dinner for the Saudi Crown Prince. 1010 Wins AccuWeather turning out mainly clear and cold, blustery early, then less windy overnight. Will drop to a low of 38 degrees. And then tomorrow, sun mixing with clouds, breezy at times, more sun north of the city with more clouds south, a high of 48. So we should just head north, right? Right now, 43 degrees and mostly cloudy in Central Park. Sean Diddy Combs back in the news and facing new allegations of sexual assault now. The L.A. Sheriff's Department says it's looking into claims from an alleged male victim who now lives in Florida, accusing Combs of sexually assaulting him in 2020.
The complaint was brought in Largo, Florida. That was turned over to the authorities in Los Angeles County. And it's up to them now, I suppose, to substantiate whether there's any there. Otherwise, it becomes like the multiple dozen civil lawsuits against Sean Combs, which so far have gone nowhere.
That's correspondent Aaron Katersky. The victim's name is redacted on the report given to L.A. authorities. A new twist in the O.J. Simpson saga, meantime.
It was 1994 when Ron Goldman was found murdered along with O.J. Simpson's ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson. O.J. Simpson was acquitted.
Not guilty of the crime of murder.
But after his acquittal, Simpson was found liable in a civil trial and ordered to pay over $33 million. He did not pay, and interest compounded. Simpson died of cancer last year. Now his estate is agreeing to a payment of nearly $58 million to the Goldman family, but the executor of the estate says that money does not exist.
It's not realistic to think that that judgment is going to be satisfied.
Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
And the Supreme Court will not take up a case involving a Christian school in Tampa that wanted to broadcast a pre-game prayer over the stadium loudspeaker before a football game. This dispute goes back to 2015, folks. The Florida High School Athletic Association had denied the request, which the school argued violated their rights to free exercise of religion and free speech. School sued, but a district court in 2022 ruled in favor of the Athletic Association. And rejecting the appeal, the High Court will not reconsider a 25-year-old decision that found student-led and initiated prayer at football games unconstitutional. Wednesday News Time, 3:11 now. And from your Mercedes-Benz of Edison.com Traffic Center, getting you where you need to go today. Here's Greg Rush.
Back to Queens, Cross Island Parkway northbound, getting up towards Union Turnpike. We're still dealing with that truck that never should have been there. You got the right lane out in a standstill all the way back to Linden Boulevard. Southbound Cross Island, sloppy to the LIE. Stay with the Clearview instead. In Queens, on the northbound side of the Whitestone Expressway after Northern Boulevard, that crash is gone. That's finally some good news for you. Eastbound Brooklyn-Queens Expressway, getting you up towards Broadway. That's a collision. You got extra brake lights all the way back towards Brooklyn. As a result, here is what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. City-bound side of the George Washington Bridge. Pretty good ride to the upper and lower as I see it on the Jam Cam. West side, best of it out, and northbound Deegan. That's the best out of the Bronx. Lincoln and Holland, no more than a few either way. Brooklyn bound Brooklyn Bridge, city bound Midtown Tunnel extra slow, and the city bound lower level of the Queensboro Bridge, you got a crash. The city bound upper level does better. Verrazano, they're not letting any empty or tandem tractor trailers across because of the winds. Greg Rice, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
And now your AccuWeather 4-day forecast. Meteorologist Brian Thompson with this live report.
Well, Larry, it's been a very windy afternoon. We've had winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour, even some gusts higher than that. LaGuardia gusted to 44 miles per hour last hour, JFK up to 41 miles per hour. The AccuWeather real field temperature is currently 32, even though temperatures are in the low to mid-40s this afternoon, just because of how strong that wind has been. It will be blustery early tonight, but the wind will diminish overnight. It will continue to clear out. We'll see a mostly clear sky much of the night, a low of 38. Sun will mix with clouds tomorrow, breezy at times, we'll have a high of 48. Then clouds back up tomorrow night. There could be a bit of rain around late with a low of 41. Perhaps even a shower or two to start on Wednesday. Then clouds will break for some sun, high 47. Pretty cloudy, though, into Thursday and Friday. And there might even be a shower by Friday. Thursday's high 49. Then we're back into the 50s for highs Friday. 43 degrees right now. It's mostly sunny in Midtown. We're going down to 38. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brian Thompson on New York's weather station. 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
One less thing to worry about for those planning to fly somewhere for the holidays.
The FAA officially stopped reducing flights because of the shutdown and those air traffic control staffing issues. Now, you remember all of those issues. They lasted for weeks here, days of chaotic scenes with flight reductions at 40 major airports in the country. We saw those long lines, more than 11,000 canceled flights. But now airlines are expecting everything to be back to normal by Thanksgiving.
That's Gio Benitez there. The order to limit traffic in the skies was issued November 7th and lifted this morning. And now the other shoe, that story that I mentioned just before the break about them no longer rolling back the flight schedules here on these planes in the wake of the shutdown, the former shutdown. People are still going, maybe Christmas, but not right now. The airport headaches made a lot of people reconsider their holiday plans, choosing to drive rather than fly.
That's the expectation of AAA, which predicts that 81.8 million Americans will spend Thanksgiving at least 50 miles from home. The FAA flight restrictions imposed during the government shutdown have all been lifted, but Henry Hartevelt of Atmosphere Research Group urges flyers to
double check your seat assignments. Sometimes airlines are changing airplanes. Make sure the flight times haven't changed. All those details.
Top travel destinations, according to AAA, Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and Los Angeles.
Yeah!
Jim Ryan, ABC News.
AAA projects nearly 90% of Thanksgiving travelers will get to their destination by car. Fresh Direct and City Harvest teaming up to make sure those in need can celebrate Thanksgiving with a good meal on their table. This isn't the first time the two have worked together to address food insecurity. They distributed hundreds of free turkeys and bags of produce this morning. The event was held at Fresh Direct's headquarters out in the Bronx. The company says it is proud to stand with its neighbors and giving back to the community. Since 2003, Fresh Direct has donated more than 37 million pounds of food to City Harvest. Donating food could get you out of a pickle in the city of Chickasaw, Oklahoma. Let me say that. I didn't say it right. Chickashaw, Oklahoma. There we go. From now to the end of the year, those with traffic violations, overdue library books, and certain municipal offenses could have their fines lowered or eliminated if they donate food. Check it out. The program is called Food for Fines. It allows individuals to turn in non-perishables and get a $10 reduction in their fine for each item up to $100. I was going to say somebody going to show up with going to need about $2,000 worth of food. Those who owe more will be allowed to work out a payment plan for their remaining balance. Isn't that crazy? Last year, it says here, 30 people were able to erase a total of more than $2,800 in fines. The latest on a former pro football star now facing some pretty serious criminal charges.
Former NFL wide receiver Antonio Brown could face up to 30 years in prison if convicted of attempted murder, since a firearm was used, according to prosecutors in South Florida. The 37-year-old Brown is accused of grabbing a handgun from a security staffer after a celebrity boxing match in Miami and firing 2 shots at a man he had gotten into a fist fight with earlier.
That's Jim Krasula. Brown appeared in a video for his arraignment. He had already entered a not guilty plea. He was released from jail last week on $25,000 bond, told to wear a GPS ankle monitor. In Florida, it's 15 years for an attempted murder charge, but they have something called a firearm sentencing enhancement, which doubles the jail time if a gun is used. Turning to overseas, Ukraine got a pretty big boost today to help its war effort against Russia.
Ukraine has signed a letter of intent with France to obtain 100 warplanes over the next 10 years. The deal announced as Ukraine's President Zelensky was in Paris for talks with his French counterpart. That 10-year timeline underscoring the Ukrainian belief that its war with the Russian invaders won't end anytime soon.
The letter of intent includes drones and interceptors, with the first deliveries expected over the next 3 years. France is one of the major suppliers of defense assistance to Ukraine. Ukraine officials say they can surely use it. They say Russia targets Ukraine with about 1,700 drones per week, plus missiles. The French infusion will help provide some much-needed air defense, they say. Headlines are next. 1010 wins at 92.3. We are moving at the speed of New York.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
43 and mostly cloudy is what we'll give you at 3:20. I'm Larry Mullins, and here's what's happening. A police officer shot in the face as he and his partner were investigating a murder in Brownsville today. The officer survived, but we'll have more on the shooting, which also left the suspect dead. On Long Island, a woman says she's seen a lot of things at the age of 93, but nothing like this. A car practically sitting in her house. Terrible accident to tell you about. President Trump dialing it back after calling our new mayor-elect a communist. Now, he says, maybe we need to get together and see what we can work out for the betterment of all New York. Not sure when they're supposed to meet, but we hear they are going to. A search panel in town today looking at 3 final sites in the Big Apple to put up a casino. The group's findings will be announced December 1st, and then it's up for ratification. A couple of sites in Queens on the table, one more up in the Bronx. And the first trailer for Disney's live-action feature adaptation of Moana is on the books. We'll have more in 1010 Wins Entertainment. AccuWeather says clear skies tonight, breezy though, and cold, dropping down to a low of 38. Wins News Time, 3:21. From the Mercedes-Benz of Edison.com Traffic Center, Mr. Greg Rice.
Now back to Queens, northbound side of the Cross Island Parkway, getting up towards Union Turnpike. We're still dealing with this tractor trailer that never should have been there in the first place. They're trying to get it off the road right now. They got the 2 right lanes subject to closure on the northbound Cross Island near Union Turnpike, and an absolute standstill from Linden Boulevard. Southbound Cross Island is sloppy to the LI. Stay with the Clearview instead. And here's what you need to know about the bridges and the tunnels. Citybound, the George, good enough to the upper and lower west side, the best of it out. Lincoln and Holland, no more than a few either way. Citybound, lower level of the Queensboro, you've got a crash. The upper level's better. Citybound, Midtown Tunnel, Brooklyn down Brooklyn Bridge, all bunched up. And they won't let you bring an empty or a tandem tractor trailer across the Verrazano on the upper level right now because of the winds that are really getting strong getting through that area. The ride in New Jersey, Garden State Parkway, a bit slow north to 145, southbound heavy coming down towards Irvington. Greg Rice, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
NYPD says the young officer is lucky to be alive today. He was shot at close range by a suspect believed to have just killed his own neighbor. It happened in Brownsville. Marla Diamond is on it.
The 25-year-old officer miraculously walked out of Brookdale Hospital hours after he was shot in the face at close range by a suspect that police believe had just killed his neighbor.
He came within inches of losing his life.
Police Officers Union President Pat Hendry and Police Commissioner Jessica Tish visited Sharkeel Warris in the hospital.
What happened this morning is a reminder of how quickly danger finds the men and women who protect this city.
The suspect was killed in a shootout with the wounded officer. 2 more officers from the 73rd and a civilian were injured in a crash as the officers raced to the scene. Marla Diamond, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM in Brooklyn.
In other news, an elderly woman on Long Island thought she'd seen everything in her life. Turns out she hadn't seen anything like this.
It's weird to find yourself coming out in the middle of the night with a car practically in your house.
She's about to turn 93, and this Huntington Station woman has lived in this house for 60 years. But now the foundation of her house is cracked, her bathroom damaged after authorities say a car slammed into the house.
And what did you hear? A loud noise. And I came to the window and saw this car on my lawn. I think the lady was on the ground.
The 22-year-old driver suffered serious injuries. Sophia Hall, 1010 Wins, a 92.3 FM on Long Island.
The Senate Commerce Committee launching an investigation into gambling in Major League Baseball now. This follows the recent indictment of 2 Guardians pitchers accused of rigging pitches to make a profit. The league has been asked to submit information on oversight and investigations into the charges. A similar request was made to the NBA after its recent scandal involving players and coaches. The committee says illegal sports betting and game rigging are not isolated incidents, but an emerging issue across multiple leagues. It goes on to say American sports are facing an integrity crisis and that these developments warrant thorough scrutiny by Congress before these issues become more widespread. President Trump says he has nothing to hide, and that's why he is now changing his tune and urging House Republicans to vote to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. The vote expected to take place tomorrow.
Specifically, what I'm hearing from sources is that they might just say information in the files that hasn't been released is covered by privilege, all sorts of various privilege disputes that the administration may try and get around. So it's not as though we will see these documents tomorrow or next month. While it is a reversal, it's a very specific reversal. It's just a reversal on what Trump is saying about how the House will vote, because Trump already knows the ship has sailed on this vote.
Correspondent Catherine Falder, as the president says it's time to move on from what he calls a Democratic hoax perpetrated by radical left lunatics. In a post on Truth Social, Mr. Trump says Democrats are trying to deflect from the success of the Republican Party, including their recent victory on the shutdown. And now Bloomberg Money Watch.
Wall Street's waiting for bigger things this week, including Nvidia and Walmart earnings, as well as a rescheduled jobs report. And as it waits, it's falling today. Dow right now losing 620 points. NASDAQ down 277. S&P down 80. The acronym UBS is short for Union Bank of Switzerland. But in the spirit of Texas Roadhouse of Louisville and Buffalo Wild Wings of Atlanta, UBS soon may be headquartered somewhere other than its name would suggest. Financial Times says the Swiss bank's chairman has held talks with U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent about potentially moving UBS headquarters to the USA amid the ongoing uncertainty over Switzerland's upcoming financial market reforms. I'm Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Money Watch on 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
1010 Wins.
I love that I get the news without the bias.
Part of my everyday routine. The news I care about.
1010 Wins. 92.3 FM.
Mostly cloudy and 43 degrees. I'm Larry Mullins. Wins News Time, 3:30.
Good afternoon. I'm Lori Madden. A Trump Mamdani summit is on the way. President Trump and Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani will be meeting. No date has been set.
After all the attacks during the campaign, the work of governing will have to be about more than just words.
My team reached out to the White House to fulfill a commitment I made to New Yorkers over the course of this campaign.
A commitment, Mamdani says, to talk with anyone about addressing affordability. But he says he'd make it clear to Trump that doing things like cutting off SNAP benefits hurts New Yorkers.
I will go to make the case to the president and to anyone, frankly, that these are the kinds of things we need to change if we want to make it easier for New Yorkers and for Americans to afford the day-to-day necessities of their life.
Mamdani calls the city's relationship with Washington critical to its success. Mac Rosenberg, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Wins News Time, 3:31. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Greg Grice.
Here's Queens, Cross Island Parkway northbound getting up to Union Turnpike. Right lane still shut down. You had a truck sneak onto the northbound Cross Island. Big mistake. Next mistake was slamming into an overpass. So now the northbound side of the Cross Island is awful from before Hempstead Avenue up to Union Turnpike. South end also slows to the LIE. But if it's there, you can go to the Clearview instead. Not shaping up to be pretty on the belt this afternoon. Eastbound already slow from Knapp Street over to Cross Bay Boulevard. Westbound jams out of Queens and again from Coney Island Avenue all the way back to Bay Parkway. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Brooklyn-bound Brooklyn Bridge, the worst of it out of Lower Manhattan, right next door. The Manhattan Bridge off to a good start. City-bound the George is all right. The west side, the best of it out northbound Deegan, best from the Bronx. Lincoln and Holland, no more than a few minutes either way. To and from Staten Island, Verrazano upper level. They won't let you bring an empty or a tandem tractor trailer across because of the winds. Greg Rice, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
Let's get a check now of your AccuWeather forecast. Here's meteorologist Brian Thompson.
Lori, as we have gone through the day, we've seen a fair amount of sunshine, but it's just that cold wind that's been very gusty throughout the day, gusting at least 30 to 40 miles per hour. We've even had some gusts higher than that, especially near the coast. That's been just adding a lot of, certainly a cold feel to the air this afternoon. Thank you, with the real field temperatures struggling to get past the low 30s. We'll see a low around 38 tonight. It is going to be a cold night, as it turns out, mainly clear. There will be a gusty breeze early that will diminish overnight, and then the breeze will pick back up again for tomorrow. Sunshine sunshine, a mix with clouds, a high of 48. Becoming cloudy tomorrow night, a bit of rain around late, a low 41. There might be a leftover shower or two early Wednesday, but most of the day will be dry as clouds try to break for some sun. High 47 Wednesday, and then the clouds return Thursday, high 49. Right now in Central Park, it's mostly sunny and 43 degrees, humidity 35%. Wind is out of the west, gusting to 31 miles per hour. The real field temperature currently 32. Again, we're at 43 and going down to 38 tonight in Midtown. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brian Thompson on New York's weather station, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
The State Gaming Facility Location Board is visiting the 3 proposed commercial casino sites in the Bronx and Queens today. The board says it will not be making any announcements, but that the visits will be recorded and posted on the board's website. The board says the purpose of today's visit is for the panel to get a better understanding of the physical locations, infrastructure, and layout. The invitations for the party of the year will be going out for costume art. That's the theme for next year's Met Gala, set for May 5th. It's also the name of the next big show at the museum's Costume Institute. The CEO and director of the Metropolitan Museum of Art says the theme will pair garments with objects from across the museum to show how fashion has long been intertwined with different art forms. The world's most visited museum is shutting a gallery, but insists it had nothing to do with the recent crown jewel heist.
The Louvre Museum is closing one of its galleries after an audit revealed structural weaknesses in some of the beams. Museum management emphasizing that this is a precautionary measure and that there is no link to last month's robbery when more than $100 million worth of jewels were stolen.
Correspondent Vicky Barker. If you're on the apps, the dating apps, that is, you can now get an AI assist.
Tired of aimlessly swiping on dating apps? Some of the biggest matchmaking apps are now offering help from AI. Instead of subscribing to an endless stream of profiles, you can pay for a few premium AI matches a week. The New York Times says Tinder is testing a service called Chemistry, which can access camera rolls and allow AI to scan and learn more about users. Grindr, a dating app for gay men, has 6 AI features. One gives advice about conversations. Another, profile summaries. A startup called Known used its 21 and 22-year-old founders and a group of psychologists to come up with AI matchmakers questions.
Deborah Rodriguez for 1010 Wins.
They're still expensive, but prices on the popular weight loss drugs are coming down.
Novo Nordisk announced it's lowering prices on its low-dose Wegovy and Ozempic treatments to $199 a month for the first 2 months of therapy for new self-pay patients. After 2 months, the price on the weight loss drugs will rise to $349 per month, which is still 30% below the current price for self-paying customers. Denmark-based Novo Nordisk is looking to maintain market share against rival Eli Lilly, which has already priced its low-dose Zepbound treatments at $349.
Correspondent Jason Brooks. 43 degrees now, cloudy here in the city. The real field temperature is 33. The city never sleeps, and neither do we. All news, 92.3 FM. Always here when you need us.
The News Watch never stops. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good afternoon. 43 degrees. The real feel is 33 at 3:40. I'm Lori Metten, and here's what's happening. An NYPD officer is out of the hospital after he was grazed in the face by a bullet this morning. A suspect and another person is dead. The search continues this afternoon for suspects in the shooting in Newark over the weekend that left a 10-year-old and a 21-year-old dead. Careful where you park. Nassau County Police say there has been an uptick in the theft of catalytic converters. A federal judge says the Justice Department engaged in a disturbing pattern of missteps in securing the indictment against James Comey. Fresh Direct and City Harvest partnering for what they're calling Share the Harvest ahead of Thanksgiving. 1010 Winds AccuWeather says clear, breezy, and cool tonight. Low 38 degrees here in the city, freezing in many suburbs. Sun and clouds tomorrow, high 48. We could see some rain tomorrow night. Winds News Time 3:41 from the Mercedes-Benz of Edison.com Traffic Center. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Greg Rice.
Well, here's Queens. Here's the Cross Island, and we're not done. Northbound Cross Island getting up towards Union Turnpike. You got at least one right lane out. They've got that truck that never should have been there that slammed into an overpass. They're still investigating. That's why the northbound side of the Cross Island is a mess from before Hempstead Avenue up towards Union Turnpike. Southbound loaded to the LI. Stay with the Clearview instead. And it looks like we have new trouble here in Brooklyn on the outbound side.